What is up, everybody? This is Keith. Go back again, 231 across the DFS industry. If you can hear my voice, I'm slowly but surely getting better. I'm hoping tomorrow is the recovery day, not only for my health, but for my bankroll. Another tough day today. Shout out to, I had 2 or 3 DMs from people across the pond who must have faded England, right, and went against their team, saying that they had a great day and, were thanking me. So kudos to you all for fading England and fading Kane. I did not. And, it's kind of salty, and then I'll get to the picks. But, my brand, for those I've watched, EPL, Champions League, is to kind of, fade the goals and treat everything as 0-0. I found myself in back-to-back days kind of going against the grain because of struggling the first few days, fading the goals. So I think this is a reality that I'm finding. And I'm sorry, I didn't complete the thought. Fading the, I'm always team no goals, in optimal and cash builds. Is go ahead, chase the goals. I'll chase the set pieces and get you that way. Sometimes in these tournaments, you get ebbs and flows. And I think just my biggest takeaway is, what we have to do is still go ahead and treat every game as 0-0. Then do your best to, take the odds, take probabilities into account, and find, if you have to play, a guy that's, more goal dependent because it fills a forward spot. Today, I think Emil Forsberg was the easy forward play, right? But then, most people went to Kane, but a lot of people went to Isaac, which I thought was surprising because I did think that, he was goal dependent, but it allowed you to play more of a forward dependent lineup, still pay up at defender and get Mason Mount, which makes a ton of sense. So yeah, I think just go back to the basics is my biggest thing that I'm going to be trying to do and trying to guide us there. It's going to be tough because of France, but let's jump right into it. Quick reminder, subscribe, comment, all really does help. All right, let's jump in. And let's start with the Hungary versus France game. France is a huge favorite, minus 400. Actually, just refreshed. It was minus 300 when I was first researching. It's always minus 400. The game is in Hungary, which is interesting. And I'll just say this before I go into France. And then your match total, though, is still a little bit very, very square at 2.5. So despite being a huge favorite, it's still a lowish total. In the Premier League or in Interleague or any place you do, a 2.5 total is on the low side. And here's the thing about France, which I think does make the slate tough. France, as we saw versus Germany, and look, France knows the firepower the Germans have, right? So there's a little bit of tactical nature there. But France has no problem just sitting back and letting the other team come to them and then just hitting them on the counter. Mbappe is probably the single most ruthless or scary or whatever term you want to say player on the counter in world football. He's just the fastest guy that has tons of skills and amazing finishing. So nobody wants to get caught out on the counter. And France loves to just invite pressure. This is what they did in the last World Cup too. Invite pressure and then boom, just kill them on the counter. And I think in a lot of ways, this slate is going to end up coming down to what you do in your second forward spot. Anton Griezmann is going to be a cash lock. He takes 100% of the set pieces for France, who's the biggest favorite on the slate. It's in an attacking position. A lot of times he'll actually come back, even though this shows 4-3-3. He'll actually sit here as a number 10 and just be able to have Mbappe and Benzema play off of one another. And then sometimes, you'll see Pogba shade forward, Conte and Rabiot go deeper. France has a lot of flexibility with how they play. But Griezmann is a lock, sub 9K. He'll be in the core. I think that in GPPs, you could, make an argument you could see a game 2-0. And Griezmann doesn't get the assists. 1 goal Benzema, 1 goal Mbappe, fade Griezmann, play those 2, boom, you're off and running. Or it could be 2 goals for Griezmann or however you kind of want to see it, right? But if we're doing sets, if we're going back to the basics, you lock and load Antoine Griezmann. I think for a lot of people, second forward is going to be done in this game. It's going to be either Karim Benzema, who is the cheaper option, who we know from his Real Madrid time, tenure, actually has a sneaky good floor for a forward. And he also just happens to get to link up with 2 of the better playmakers in world football, in Antoine Griezmann and Kylian Mbappe. So I think Benzema makes a ton of sense. And obviously Mbappe makes a ton of sense too. One, because Mbappe, is the next generation of player, right? He's the next Messi and Ronaldo that's coming up. But additionally, Mbappe does have a kind of a sneaky floor in good matchups. He can take an occasional corner. I don't think he will, but it's in the realm of possibilities. He gets out in the wide position. And it just seems that Mbappe is the guy that kind of just almost always gets there. Now, you can argue with me, right? He didn't get there versus Germany. Well, one goal got chopped off that he scored. He set up Benzema for another one. So if all of a sudden those calls go his way, we have a goal and assist. He has like 21 DK, and everybody's talking about how can you not play Mbappe. So I do think that Benzema or Mbappe are your 4 or 2. Pogba, Conte, Rabiot, none of them are building blocks for me, but they're all just like fine if I land there. It is the biggest favorite. Pogba is the most attacking of the bunch. Pavard, Hernandez, not huge crossers, but again, I could not fault you. There's 2 other defenders I'd much rather have than Pavard or Hernandez. But if you just go, look, I'm just going to be all in on France. I think they're going to score 2 or 3 goals, and that's going to decide my fate. Like, I can't argue. Varane, Kimpembe, we're fine. So that's France. For Hungary, so Kleinhausler took the only corner they had last game. I think he's okay. He's like 3,900. I saw Rabiot's in that same range. So I'll just say this. I would not be shocked if a couple people for Hungary show up and have really, really nice DFS games. Like I mentioned when I started this game out, France loves to play on the counter. France will invite pressure. And if they score, let's say that in the first 15 minutes they score a goal, and even like by minute 30 they're up 2-0. They're just going to sit back, and Hungary could end up being like really, really DFS effective. And I think Kleinheisler and Lovren 6 are really nice. I really like Lovren 6, 2,900 for a wingback that likes to cross. He has taken corners in the past. Like, it wouldn't all of a sudden shock me if he jumped on some here. And he has 2 target men, Salalai and Sazalai. I think that's how you say it, right? Sazalai is a beast. I was actually came away from watching that Portugal-Hungary game really impressed. I'm like, that is a dude I do not want to mess with. Like, I would not want to be like sizing him up or him bearing down on me. And Salalai was actually like really aggressive too. So both of them are very, very aggressive. Would not shock me if they get a few shots. Lloris could be interesting because I think he might end up being active, and you have a crowd there that's going to be sparing them on. So I'm not going to sleep on Hungary here from a DFS perspective. So Kleinhassler, Lovren 6 are probably my favorite. Fiola is really cheap as the other wing back. And then I think, if you just decided that you go, I'm not really crazy about Benzema or Mbappe. I don't want a Spain forward, and Germany and Portugal I can't figure out. Like, if you go Sazalai, he was in the GPP winner in that 2-game slate. What was that, Tuesday? He's only like 4,800. 4,800, I believe. Let me check. 4,800. So, 11.4 DK without a goal or assist versus Portugal, who, kind of pounds the ball a little bit more than in France. So, yeah, I think crazier things have happened. All right, Portugal versus Germany. This game's kind of tough. Obviously, these are 2 amazing teams. We've got Germany as a slight favorite, plus 125. Let me see where this game is at. Let me not look at the referee. It's in Germany too, right? So that's a big deal. Germany needs to win. I think Germany's best play is Joshua Kimmich. Tony Kroos, I did not get to watch the game versus France, which is a shame. But everything I read was that some of Kroos's deliveries at the beginning were pretty awful. And then all of a sudden, Kimmich started jumping on all the corners. So I think Kimmich and Kroos are the best cash options. Joshua Kimmich being wide and getting corners makes me drift towards him or prefer him. Without the yellow card last game, he would have been just fine. And I really do think that Germany is going to be looking for an outlet, and it's really going to be Kroos and Kimmich having to provide that, because that front line with Kai and Serge and Thomas Muller, while they're all willing to work hard, they just don't really look cohesive together at all. Like, I don't think France ever really felt like they were going to concede last game, despite all the pressure. Like, France was just like chilling there from everything I read and from the highlights I watched. I watched the extended highlights. I just don't feel like that's enough of a game, but like, France looked comfortable defending, which, is kind of scary for Germany. Kroos, Kimmich, cash options, Gossens, cash viable, all your forwards, especially because this game, the total is under 2.5. It's all the juice. It's like 2.25 total. So I can't really see in an optimal building around any of these guys. But obviously for GPP, if you want to do a mini Germany stack, that won't be that highly owned. I think this game is just going to be the one that people pass on. They're going to be targeting France, and they're going to be targeting Spain. So that makes Germany at home in a must-win game really, really interesting. Yeah, I think that's Germany for me. Portugal, you look, there's only two options that you have here. It's Bruno and Ronaldo. I'll just say this. Germany, again, from those extended highlights, I'm not going to pretend here that I watched all 90 minutes, but, Mbappe got loose multiple times. Benzema had a goal rolled off. So, Ronaldo is going to go under own in this slate, I think. I think most people are going to go to France. I think the consensus among people is going to be, Ronaldo's Ronaldo. People are going to own him. And all of a sudden, you might have enough people convincing themselves that Ronaldo's going to get ownership that he goes lower owned. So I think he's a really interesting GPP prospect. I mean, anytime you can get Ronaldo on a slate sub 10K and maybe like sub 30%, I think it's interesting for GPP, if nothing else. Obviously, Bruno should take some set pieces here. He and Bernardo Silva will split. Bernardo Silva, though, God, like, if you ever get like 6 or 7 DK out of him, like you're thrilled, but it seems like you need a goal or assist to do it. He's 5,900. So I don't think it's crazy to go there for cash, but it's more of like, yes, you're getting a set piece taker in the forward spot and some floor, but what's the opportunity cost of one of your spots that's used up with two other big favorites and a guy that might sub, because Rafa Silva looked really good when he subbed on for Silva. And, I just think it's an opportunity cost thing that, you're really selling out for a goal or assist, and I don't know if I'd spend it for him. Guerrero was, scored the goal that opened the floodgates. He's fine, but I think that Kimmich and Alba are ahead of Guerrero, and then I might even say the France guys are, just because I do just worry that Germany, especially at home, is going to control possession. Portugal has shown in the past they don't mind playing on the counter. That's kind of what they did last Euro to win it, was play a lot on the counter despite all the talent. So there's a really good chance that Portugal just plays on the counter, which is not great for the fullbacks. Okay, that is that game. Let's go to Spain versus Poland. It's tough that this game is at the end because Spain, obviously there's so many unknowns probably with their lineup. They struggled so much last game versus Sweden. In terms of finishing, that it just feels like there has to be a difference made. I would absolutely expect Gerard Moreno in the lineup. Now, whether he's taking Ferran Torres' place or if he's taking Morata's place, who knows? Danny Olmo looked good, so that works. I would really be surprised if Koke isn't here. I thought Koke was one of the more live bodies. He's going to be in my core because he took all the set pieces when he was on. The cool thing about playing Koke here is that if Koke is not in, I really think that this spot here, Llorente, I expect to be right back. I don't think that Azpilicueta really adds all that much as a right back in like terms of offense. So I thought Llorente was just fine there, and they've been playing in their friendlies with Llorente at the right back. So I wouldn't be shocked if they put Llorente at right back, and this is either Thiago or Koke. You really could see Thiago, and if it's Thiago, with this type of lineup, Thiago will be on corners anyways. So I don't mind just having Koke there. He's the more expensive, and if he's not in, just plug down Thiago. And then if you happen to have one other spot and can upgrade, great. If not, oh well. Like, you were planning for like the Spain set pieces, and you got them, and they were both sub 6K. So I kind of wish I would have done that with England today, because got so worried about England rotating, or that the one corner that they got versus Croatia, could Mount be splitting with Foden? That's what I kept on saying to myself. Okay, I'm just going to hedge off and just use Kane. Yet they were the biggest favorite on the slate. Even a split for an attacking player made sense. So I overthought that, and I don't really want to overthink that versus Spain. I think Koke or Thiago, and then Jordi Alba are the best cash plays. Jordi Alba. Poland is not good. All right, sorry, Evan Pro. Love you, buddy, but Poland's not good. And Poland, I think, is just going to be battered down defensively by the Spain passing attack. And what ends up happening so often is that Jordi Alba is the guy that makes those penetrating runs. Like, he gets way up here and then just tries to play off this back center back, and he makes runs, especially at the end. We saw him over and over in the box in the last 15 minutes. So I do think Jordi Alba will get forward, get crosses, and gives you a really good floor. He's going to probably get 80 to 100 passes. We're going to get to him on price picks. So those are my favorites. Moreno would be an elite GPP play for me. I think Moreno's good. He should have scored versus Sweden. I think he's one of their better offensive guys. Morata, you know, we know the Morata story. He's goal or bust. Danny almost fine, but I think it's hard to get to him in builds. But if you're there, like I thought he was incredibly lively for them. Pedri's just kind of a waste. He's a better real life player than DFS. Then you have your center backs. For Poland, nobody. I don't want to play anybody for Spain. They're just too ball dominant. You know, you want to play a YOLO goal for Lewandowski, go for it. But, you know, there's a decent chance that Lewandowski, even with a goal, gets like 14, 15 DK. You might be able to make up for that with Benzema or Mbappe. So that's your call. Zelensky will be on sets. Jazowic could take some too. It was Zelensky before. Jazowic and Rybis were very, very attack-minded last game, but I don't think they get the chance here. All right, let's go to my core. Anton Griezmann, Koke, Jordi Alba, and Kimmich. It's so close. I put Alba here. Honestly, I think I've talked myself into, with Germany being at home, that it should be Kimmich. So Griezmann, Koke, Kimmich is my core. Let's go to prize pick. So 3 numbers I like. I love the Jordi Alba number. I thought this would be like 8. He has multiple games when they're in this type of favorite position of 80 to 100 passes. So I think 6.1 super soft. Marcus Llorente, as long as he is the right back, I think at 5.8 is super soft. You know, at almost 100 passes versus Spain. Then I really like Robert Lewandowski under 4.6 DK. He's not going to get that many passes. So really we're looking for 2 shots on goal or less than 2 shots on goal, no goal or assist. And I think that we have good shape. Cool thing on a power play that plays 5 to 1 odds. So what you could also do just to hedge is just do, I prefer Alba to Llorente, so you always could just do the 2, gives you 3 to 1, but I really feel good about the Llorente number 2 at 5 to 1. So I would consider that too. All right. Thank you all so much for watching. Just a quick reminder, if you are new to Prize Picks, use code FSI. You get a match up to $100 or 100% up to $100. So we'd love for you to use that. Definitely helps us out in terms of our relationship with Prize Picks, who truly is just an awesome partner, and we're so happy to be a part of that network. Thank you all so much for watching. Good luck tomorrow. With that, I'll say, see you.